Oh, hello guys. What is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome back to the Popcorn Podcast. I hope everyone's had a fantastic Christmas. Some of you watching might be asking yourselves the question, why am I, Dylan, sitting here in the guest couch? Well, it's a very good question. I feel like this point of the year, all the film YouTubers, influencers, podcasters are out doing their sort of best of 2023 list. And for this year, I didn't necessarily want to do a Dylan-only 2023 best of list. So in the spirit of conversation and collaboration, I have some help with me. Joining me for this epic season finale, so to speak, I have some of my favorite guests over the past 19, 20 episodes or so. And to be honest, some of my favorite human beings on the planet who are going to be joining me in short interval segments, interview style segments, talking about one film from 2023 of their choosing. And together we're going to compile a essentially top 10 of 2023 list, Popcorn Podcast style edition. So without further ado, guys, let's bring on our first guest.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm a film producer, if I can call myself that, and I shoot these episodes of the Popcorn Podcast, and my favourite film of 2023 is Saltburn.
Saltburn, that is an interesting interesting pick. So Joe, before you talk about your pick of 2023, I'm going to ask you some quickfire questions. It's a mix of just random questions and film-related questions. Right. Okay, number one, are you a cat or dog person?
Cat, fucking hell.
What is your favourite pizza topping?
Favourite pizza topping? Not pineapple.
Right. What's a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
2023 TV show...
Or what's a show that you would have liked to have watched in 2023?
I want to watch The West Wing.
Cool. What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Lemonade. Yeah.
Joe doesn't drink that. Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when watching a film at the cinema?
A mix, bro.
Good answer. Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Ooh, I enjoyed Barbie more, but Oppenheimer was a better movie.
So pick one then.
No, I can't.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Fine, Oppenheimer then, I guess.
What is your favourite colour?
Don't come for me. Sorry, what?
What is your favourite colour?
Red.
Red. What is your favourite season of the year?
Ooh, I like all seasons equally. They all have the benefit.
One.
No, can't they? No.
Pick one.
Fine, summer, spring.
Who's your favourite person to go to the cinema with?
Ooh, Mickey.
Your girlfriend.
No, my girlfriend. Fuck.
What are your Letterboxd 4 favourites?
Thin Red Line is number one.
Cool.
Birdsong, Whiplash, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's American Beauty.
Cool.
But I'm not sure.
So for the people who haven't seen Emerald Fennell's Saltburn, in a few words, how would you describe the film?
It's kind of like, I guess, Brideshead Revisited meets Talented Mr. Ripley for me. It is the story of Oliver Quick, who wants to climb the social ladder with the cool people at university, and he eventually ends up being invited by, the popular guy to his very, very illustrious manor house in the UK.
Did you manage to catch this in cinemas?
So I watched Saltburn for the first time in the cinema. At first, very surprised me. It was in 4x3. Was the first thing. I kind of took me aback a bit, but I was in a good cinema, so it was all fine. And the second time I watched it was also again in the cinema, so I watched it twice in the cinema.
So just ultimately, what is the reason you have picked Saltburn as your chosen film of 2023?
I mean, it was a tough call because I did really like Oppenheimer as a movie. I thought it was one of Christopher Nolan's best films, I think. So I think he's finally mastered his craft of non-linear storytelling. But Saltburn for me, I think I just enjoyed, and that was the difference for me. It was just something that I watched it. I went in with no expectations, nothing, very neutral, hadn't watched trailer or anything, didn't really know what I was getting myself in for, and absolutely loved every second of it. I think I remember in the first 5 minutes, I turned to Mickey, who was sitting next to me, and was like, this is going to be good, because from that first montage, it was you knew you were in good hands here. So
good, in fact, that you watched it for a second time.
Yeah, watched a second time.
Was there a little bit of a different experience watching it for a second time round?
I think on a second watching, talking to some of my friends who went to Dylan, obviously, he wasn't as big a fan of it as I was. I remember me and Mickey leaving the film like, dude, that is the best film of this year. We were like thinking, this is amazing. And Dylan was a bit more apprehensive in areas. And I think I originally gave it 5-star on Letterboxd when I first came out of cinema. But then on the second viewing, I did drop it down to 0.5 star. And for me, that was more just because I wasn't too keen on I feel like Saltburn, for me, the main criticism it's getting a lot now, and for me as well, is it's very surface level. I think it hints at the idea that there's stuff beneath the surface, but the moment you scratch like a tiny bit beneath the surface, you realise there's nothing there. They're often alluding or making references to something deeper, like there's something deep going on, but there actually isn't. It's very surface level. However, what you experience on the surface, for me in this film, is fun. It's very enjoyable, and it's absolutely fine, I think. But I think, it could have been that extra 0.5 star. I think it could have easily been one of the greatest films of the decade if they had kind of layered it a bit more, and there was like more going on, like there's more conflict and there was more twists and turns. I think the twist for a lot of people was very obvious, and I think if they had built on that a bit more and subverted your expectations a bit more and led you down different paths and kind of had it all linked together, I think it would have been way more interesting than it ended up being, I think, for me. So that's why I kind of docked it from being 5 stars to being 0.5 star. So I think it's the best film of the year in my opinion, but I wouldn't say it would be up there one of the best films of the decade just because of that. I don't think it's become quite a classic just yet.
Did this film at all connect with you emotionally or thematically? Was there any sort of longing between yourself and the story that you saw unfolded before your eyes?
Yeah, there were elements of it. You get reminded of, I guess, some people in your own family and like that sort of generation a bit. I think it's not necessarily just the upper class, but there's often elements of generational things, like, forgive the term, boomers, basically, that you kind of notice when you're watching it. And definitely some of my experiences with like the upper classes in Britain as well. It's like those characters, those people who knew all the famous people back in the day, and like obviously that song was written about them. Well, it could have been written about 50 other women from back then, but I think there definitely are elements of it that I think it's definitely not easy to say I related to Saltburn on an emotional level. I think it would be. I think we'd have a big problem if I said I related to Saltburn on an emotional level, and like I was like, oh my god, that grave scene, like Jesus Christ, or like that bathtub scene, fucking hell, like So I think if I related to it on a deeper level, I think it would be slightly worrying, but I don't, thank God. But I think I just enjoyed the emotional ride that it kind of takes you on, I guess.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Joe. Before you leave it, I just do want to ask you, if you weren't talking about Saltburn, I think you hinted at this when you started, which film from 2023 would you be talking about?
It's a difficult one. I mean, Oppenheimer would be up there. Also Barbie as well. I really enjoyed Barbie, but I do have also issues where it's similar to Saltburn, where I felt it was a lot of it was a bit surface level. It didn't delve as deep as it could have delved. But Barbie I really enjoyed. Oppenheimer, obviously. I really enjoyed the new Hunger Games, actually. That's a curveball. I did enjoy the new Hunger Games movie. I thought it was a very good prequel. I think it's a very good example of how to do a good prequel. And it's my second favorite Hunger Games movie. But yeah, Oppenheimer, I think, for me, I've seen a lot of Christopher Nolan trying to master the art of non-linear storytelling, and I feel like in a lot of his movies, he's kind of just missed the mark a bit. I think Tenet was very underwhelming in that regard. It just was confusing. It was a confusing mess. But I think Oppenheimer kind of struck a really nice balance, and I definitely walked out of Oppenheimer feeling a lot of emotion after watching that movie. Maybe more so than Saltburn, arguably, but I think Saltburn's more fun emotions. I think Saltburn, everything was operating at 110%. That for me is what makes a great movie, is when every department is kind of intersecting perfectly at the director's vision. And that was what Saltburn was. Everyone knew why they were there and what they were doing and what they were trying to make. There was a very clear director's vision there, which is clear from what was produced. Like, cinematography is operating 110%. There was not one weak performance in Saltburn. They're all at 110%. Production design, costumes, like editing, absolutely everything. The cinematography especially is beautiful in that movie. The only thing, and the writing as well, I think is about 90%. I think they could have pushed it a bit further, but that's what draws it back from being a classic for me, is I don't think the writing's all the way there. But also directing by Amr Fowl was insane. I think directing was really good, yeah.
Fantastic. And on a final note, what is the one film of 2024 that you're most excited for?
One film of 2024 I'm most excited for. Paddington 3. The next Paddington movie, or Deadpool, but probably Paddington, I'll say, is my next anticipated movie next year.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Joe.
Roll up, roll up. It's my favourite song. Hey everyone, my name's Fantine. I'm an illustrator, and my favourite movie of 2023 was TMNT, Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
I love my animation.
So, Fantine, before we talk all things Mutant Mayhem, I'm going to throw you some quick fire questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. So first up, are you a cat person or a dog person?
I like dogs.
Do you not have a cat?
Listen.
I swear, don't you?
I hate them. No, I'm joking.
Do you not have a cat?
I do have cats, yeah.
But you're a dog
I also
person?
had a dog, yeah. I did have a dog at one point.
I'm sorry that I forced you to choose.
Great.
What is in the spirit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What is your favorite pizza topping?
Oh, chicken and mushrooms. Chicken and mushrooms.
Nice. What is a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
Oh, would you be surprised if they're both animated?
Absolutely not.
Invincible and Blue-Eyed Samurai on Netflix.
I still need to watch Invincible. What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Double rum and Coke, but it has to be like dark or spiced rum.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when you go to watch a film at the cinema?
No, neither. I want chocolate.
You don't like popcorn?
No.
No?
No, it gets my teeth. It's nasty.
Fair enough. Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Barbie.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What is your favorite season of the year?
I like spring.
Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
I like going with my mum. Yeah. Because I feel like I know everything and I'm like the clever person in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a power move.
And finally, Fantine, I'm not actually sure if you have Letterboxd, but if you were to pick your top 4 favorite films of all time, off the top of your head, go.
A lot of them are going to be animated. Triplets of Bellevue. I like District 9, old one.
Fucking prawn.
Yeah, fucking prawn. What else is good? How to Train Your Dragon. The second one. Good stuff. What else? Does anyone remember Guardians of Ga'Hoole? The owl animated one?
The Zack Snyder film.
Yeah, that was some good stuff there. It is, yeah. I thought it was a documentary. Looks so real.
Yeah.
That I probably haven't hit 5, but that's all I can think of.
Awesome. 4. But you hit 4. Good. You smashed it. Are you now convinced to get Letterboxd in 2024? No.
I can hardly keep up with the world around me. We'll see.
That's fair enough. So Fantine, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Can you briefly tell us what this film is about?
It's like, I guess I could say it's like a family movie.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of weird brothers and their strange rat dads living in the sewers, and they somehow know martial arts. And they also meet a bunch of other mutants, and it's just like, what side are they on? You know, humanity or the mutant side, you know? But more than anything, I think it's just like sounds cringe to say, a coming of age film.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely like just a bunch of teenagers like existing in life. And, you know, living together.
Yeah. I mean, it has the sort of exterior of a kid's film, but definitely deals with a lot of deeper themes, I want to say.
Yeah.
How did you watch this film? How did you experience the film?
Well, I went to the cinema, and it was funny because it was like during Barbenheimer, so like the cinema was really busy, but that screen was like empty. Yeah, so I was like, I was a little sad, but I was like, also like, I got to enjoy the whole cinema to myself, and really like, if I wanted to laugh, I'd just like belt it out, kind of.
Yeah.
But I think it was needed to see in the cinema because it's just so colorful, and like there's so much going on. The music is amazing, so you need to have like the surround sound and everything. So yeah, seen at the cinema, good stuff.
Yeah, it's always the best way.
Yeah, of course.
So just straight up, Fantine, why have you picked this film as your film of 2023?
Well, it's one of those movies where I watched the trailer and it really took me back because it's so different from like, I mean, Spider-Man is, I want to say it's obviously based off comic books, but like we're going into this thing with animation where they're being a lot more experimental with it. And I just loved the colors, and I loved, you know, Seth Rogen like basically wrote it. And I think it was like Jeff Rowe, the director of Mitchell's Verse of the Machine, who actually animated it and directed it. So it's got like these really like, it's like not symmetrical. It doesn't need to kind of fit into the whole box of like what people want to see. It's just like a very beautiful, artistic kind of movie.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really excited to see it. And also I love TMNT. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're great.
Yeah, no, speaking for myself, I was obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a kid. I saw this film. I took my like young nephews to go and see this film, and they absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
They screamed at the end credit scene specifically as well.
Yeah.
They thought it was like the coolest thing, and I was like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Even the kid in me was a little bit excited. You said you were a fan of the Turtles beforehand. Is this the best Turtles movie that you've seen, in your opinion?
I mean, I haven't really watched like a lot of the movies.
Yeah.
Like I watched,
You watched the shows?
Yeah, the shows. I think it was like the 2009, 2012, and then I've recently started watching the 2018 one, which is like, I love it. It's great. But I feel like this is the first version of them being teenagers, because I feel like a lot of the time before they're just like adults.
Yes.
You know, they're very serious. In this one, it was very like Gen Z humor, millennial humor, very memey. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you could put loads of memes in it and people will laugh and stuff. But it's, I really liked how different it was from the other ones. I think all of them are pretty great, and I really like the 2018 series because it's 2D animated and it's, well, we can talk about that another time. But this version was great because I feel like it's just opening up doors for animation studios to be like, oh, we don't really need to, we can just go crazy with it, you know? We don't have to like fit into this box. We can think outside of it.
Yeah.
So I really liked it for that, basically.
I want to ask you, who is your favorite turtle and why is it Raphael?
Why is it really? I was going to say Michelangelo.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair, when I was growing up, my favorite was always Leo.
Yeah, because he's the leader, you know? But I think in this version, I really liked... normally it's Mikey, but I do really like Raph in this one because he was like this hot-headed, just like dumb kid. He was just like, he didn't really, not like he doesn't know his own strength, but like finding his own strength and stuff. But that's like with all of them. But yeah, I liked Raph.
Yeah, there's been no shortage in the animated films department. Why would you recommend Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to people who haven't seen it?
Well, I don't think this movie is for everyone. I want to start with that because like I said, it's very Gen Z humor. It's very like, a lot of the things in it are like viral memes that have happened. You kind of have to be like on your phone and stuff.
With the times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's for everybody, but I feel like it's one of those things where like if you put it on it for your kids, you will watch it and be like, oh yeah, that's actually, you know, it's quite cool. Like, but I don't think everyone's gonna really get it. And I think a lot of the time when it comes to the movies like this, because I was saying earlier, it's not like symmetrical. People will look at it and be like, that's kind of ugly looking. But I feel like you have to like look past that and really like appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Me and you had the great pleasure, or at least I had the great pleasure of talking about Across the Spider-Verse with you on episode 8, I believe, of this year. If you were to pick another film to talk about as your pick of 2023, would it be Spider-Verse, or is there another film that you would have actually gone with?
I mean, like, I do, obviously I would love to talk about Spider-Verse more, but I really love Talk to Me.
Yeah.
It's such a good horror movie. I don't know, it was just so nice kind of having like something that really just builded on fear. And like, as someone who loves horror movies as well as animation, I thought it was just really refreshing. This year's been great for just like new ideas, so just excited for the future, you know?
No, exactly, right. And finally, what film of 2024 are you most excited for?
All right, you guys are going to fucking think I'm cringe.
Okay.
Godzilla.
Wait.
I like Godzilla, okay?
Godzilla X Kong or, well, Godzilla
I would
minus
say minus
one.
one, but that's out this year.
It's coming out this year, right?
Because I love...
Apparently it's really, really good.
It's like, you know, back to the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out now. Well, it's out on Friday.
Yeah.
It's out on Friday.
Yeah.
Who's going to go see it?
Wait, it's not as good as Godzilla X Kong and New Empire and New Age of Dawn.
Are they going to fuck?
He is pink, isn't he?
Come on, he's sassy.
They had to do
Queen.
something really different. Well, thank you so much, Fantine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So yeah, my name's Theo. I am a filmmaker and part-time bartender. My chosen film for 2023 is still a Michael J. Fox movie. It's actually a documentary, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I can safely say that none of us in this room have actually seen the film. Am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is definitely going to be an interesting pick, and one that you're going to definitely have to educate us a lot
Yeah.
on. But before we get into that, I'm going to ask you some quickfire questions.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, first up. Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog person.
What is your favorite pizza topping?
I like the Padana from Pizza Express.
The what?
The Padana, yeah. Goat cheese and caramelized onion, yeah. Romano, yeah. It's the goat.
Great. I might have to try it then. What is the TV show in 2023 that you've been watching?
The Bear. And the Boiling Point series as well. Yeah.
This is serious?
Yeah. Yeah, they turned
wow.
it into a series. The Bear. Yeah. The
So
Bear.
2 shows both about cooking.
Yes, yeah.
Great. What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Go-to drink, vodka martini.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when you're watching a film at the cinema?
Both.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
Panwa. Probably like 70% of cinema occasions happen with
with
Panwa
him,
this
yeah.
year. Yeah.
And finally, what are your top 4 Letterboxd favorites?
It is Roman Holiday, Audrey Hepburn classic.
Yep.
Good Will Hunting. E2 Mama Tambian, one of my favorites. And 4th one I've just changed it. It's called A Moment of Innocence. It's Iranian new wave film, sort of meta. Like there's 5 levels of like meta analysis on that one. It's really good.
Cool. I will definitely give it a watch. The same goes for the film that you've picked. Still, a Michael J. Fox movie, documentary, as you put it. In a few words, can you tell us what this film is about?
Yeah. So when you asked me what film I would recommend, I had a look at the films I watched this year, and it was the only documentary that I gave 5 stars. Only film I gave 5 stars this whole year, and it's basically it tells the life story of Michael J. Fox from sort of early success in his teenage years, working on television, and then Family Ties, and then moving into sort of stardom with Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, meeting his wife on the set of Family Ties and their relationship, and then basically the onset of his Parkinson's disease in his 20s and 30s, and how he had to keep that sort of under wraps for a while to keep his career going, and then his later life of him becoming a big advocate for more funding and more awareness. And then it's called Still, so it kind of comes to that sort of sense of like what's his stillness amongst his really chaotic life. Where does he find stillness? And I think it's very heartfelt, beautifully told documentary about finding that stillness amongst a very chaotic and energetic life. Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely sounds like an interesting watch.
How did you experience the film? Is this available on?
Yeah, so Jeremy Jones is the YouTube critic, and he did a review of it, and then Mark Kermode did a review of Still as well. So that was how I got to know the film, and then I just checked it out on Apple TV. It's one of my great joys is watching documentaries with the family.
Yeah.
So me and my mum love watching documentaries about famous actors, directors, and all the rest of it. Sky do a very good like directors series, and this sort of just fell right in line with that. So it was really good.
Yeah. Like I said, interesting pick to go with a documentary when there have been so many motion pictures released this year. Just plain and simple, why have you picked Still out of everything you've watched this year?
Well, listen, I think it's underrated. I don't think many people have seen it, surprisingly. It won loads of documentary awards this year. And yet, I don't think many people have seen it. It's Christmas, so it's a great family watch. If you're nostalgic for Back to the Future, if you like Michael J. Fox in any way, and also if you want to see something that has an optimistic ending, it's very well done. And so I think it's a great Christmas watch if you don't know what to watch this Christmas.
You mentioned that there are a lot of poignant, heartfelt moments and sort of themes in this film. Can you talk a little bit about that and how the film connected with you emotionally?
Well, the thing about Michael J. Fox is he's such a honest, quick-witted, like really funny character, and he plays these amazing sort of energetic, larger-than-life people, what the documentary does really well, and this is what makes it elevate from another like documentary about someone, whether you've got, you know, Sylvester Stallone or those documentaries that Netflix are doing. I thought what this documentary did really well is it recreated some scenes. So they obviously got an actor in and recreated some scenes, but then it bridged that with real life clips from the films, and then matched that with the mood that he was in the time. So if he was tired, because he's talking about how exhausted he was, then they would match that with sort of Marty McFly being exhausted, and you can see the parallel of life imitating art, imitating life, and it just did that through line perfectly. And so it created almost like a recreation of his early career through film. So I thought that was really cool, just as a filmmaker, the sort of awareness of like, if you're making a film, this is what, for me, you know, I made a film called Big Dog, which is about sort of peer pressure,
which I will link down below,
having a night out with your friends, and then making that film felt like a night out with my friends, because we were sort of shooting party scenes with a great bunch of people. And then my second film was called Take 10, and that felt like that was a disaster film about a film on a film set. And then that ended up being sort of the reality of it. So I always find it interesting how whatever film you make, that period of your life often matches what film you're making as well. And it's emulating sort of your own experiences and sort of portraying it through film. Exactly. Why would you recommend this film? You spoke a little bit about how, you know, it's the holiday season and you think it's a great film for the family to get behind. Why would you recommend this film to people who haven't seen it? Well, I'd say two reasons. One, because of how it's an elevated documentary in the sense that they do it so well in that blend of life and art. So I just thought that I hadn't seen before. And then the ending and how it comes to a real sense of catharsis in terms of the title of the film being Still, and then just sort of landing that at the end, you really get a sense of like, it calms down towards the end and you feel like a sense of like, this is a life well lived, and Michael J. Fox is still very much sort of carrying on in a much more peaceful way when he's just had a very sort of busy, hectic life.
No, for sure. I mean, it definitely sounds like something I'm going to be watching this holiday season. You've definitely convinced me to go and give it a watch. It is the only pick of this entire video, of this entire list, that I haven't seen. So I'll get on that ASAP. I do want to ask you, Theo, if you weren't talking about Still, a Michael J. Fox movie, what film would you be talking about?
Well, I was just thinking, like, you know, my biggest thing at the moment is just finding films that are being released that are super unique and I haven't seen before. And the two films that really stand out in that regard this year are May, December, with Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. I thought that was, I saw that at the London Film Festival. It was hilarious. There was lots of laughter, but also just a really great character study, where the director, I felt, wasn't judgmental, wasn't sort of pitching anything, just literally just sticking to the character study element of it and making it a really fun, mysterious sort of character study. And then the second one would be the new Nick Cage film called Dream Scenario, which has just come out as A24 film. And I thought that was very funny and I had lots of fun themes I used to be a psychology student. And so I enjoyed sort of the Jungian themes of like being in this subconscious, the collective subconscious. And then, I really enjoyed that and I recommend that. So those are the two most unique films I've seen this year that I would say, like, if you're a film lover and you want to, watch everything, then those are the two ones that stand out.
Fantastic. And could you complete the sentence? The film that I am the most excited for in 2024 is?
Two films. Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's new film coming out, and to be honest, it probably won't come out in 2024, probably 2025. But The Movie Critic, obviously, Tarantino's new film.
Is that also coming out next year?
Potentially towards the end of the year.
Towards the end. I feel like it'll be a big awards season.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Theo.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you.
Oh, can I have headphones?
Yes, of course.
Hello, my name is Ebony. I'm an actress, student, photographer, person.
Full-time sufferer.
Yes. And my chosen film is How to Have Sex by Molly Manning Walker.
Amazing pick, Ebony. Before we do get talking about how to have sex, the film's title is super misleading, would you not say?
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get talking about the film, I would like to ask you some quick fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right. First up, are you a cat or dog person?
Dog.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Cheese.
What's a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
Cowboy Bebop.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Sparkling water.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when watching a film at the cinema?
I like them together.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Neither.
What is your favorite color?
Yellow.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Spring.
Who's your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
Myself.
And finally, what are your Letterboxd top 4 favorites?
Coco. Jeepers Creepers. Memories of Murder. And Singing in the Rain.
That is a great selection. So let's talk about how to have sex. It's never going to feel normal saying that, honestly.
No.
In a few words, can you tell us all about what this film is about?
It's about a group of girls, 3 girls, that have gone to Malia post GCSEs, haven't got their results back, but they've planned this holiday. And it's about their interactions and social pressures that they kind of confront on their holiday, like losing your virginity, sex, relationships, friendships, drinking, everything. Fun stuff.
How did you watch this film, Ebony?
I watched it with you.
That is true.
Yeah. Clara, but she's not here.
She's not here yet.
In the cinema, by the way.
Yes.
We watched it, yeah.
Yes, very much so. Why have you picked How to Have Sex?
I didn't write an answer for this one. Oh, I did. Yes. I picked this film because obviously got to watch it with you. I have met Molly Manning Walker before, so I had that kind of like personal connection. I worked with her. She was the DOP on a TV series that I was lucky enough to be a part of, and then I knew that this was coming about, this film, before it came out. And I think it's something that I related to personally. I think a lot of women have related to things like this. It's a very honest portrayal of what happens in the film. So yeah, I think that's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you did just touch on how the film sort of connected with you emotionally. You saying that, it's a very relatable situation that a lot of girls and a lot of women find themselves in. What are some of the sort of key themes that stuck out to you about this film and that sort of moved you?
I like how it said a lot about kind of sexual encounters, sexual assault, and the pressure that you have as a young girl to kind of lose your virginity and the way in which you do it without saying it very obviously. I find that a lot of movies or TV shows that address this issue, it's kind of the only thing that they're saying. I felt like I was just watching a group of girls on a holiday and I believed everything. I wasn't like, oh, well, they've made the choice now for us to see this moment because that's the whole thing of the movie. It didn't feel forced, but it felt very real and it was very honest and it was very true. And I feel like I've been in a very similar situation to the lead character. I feel like talking to a lot of girls, talking to Clara afterwards, it's something that we've all been through. And I think they took it from the angle of like, they showed you one that didn't really have a resolve. Like at the end of the film, there was no like, she went and spoke about, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a spoiler, I don't know. She spoke to her friend about what had happened to her, but it doesn't seem as though it gets taken any further. It is kind of just like, this happened to me, we're moving on now. And you see sexual assault from an angle that isn't really understood by a lot of people. I feel like she didn't like specifically say like no in words throughout the film, but you see that and you understand how for a lot of women there are examples where like you freeze or you don't say things, but then you see it from the angle of like, but it still is bad. And I feel like it's a good way for people to see it because not a lot of people understand that as a woman you can be put in, and men as well, but just for the like from the angle of this film.
Yeah.
It was honest, it was very real, and it was hard to watch,
Yeah.
but at the same time informative. And
Yeah, it is a bit of a at times tough watch. And my next question was, why would you recommend this film to people who haven't seen it, if you were to at all?
Would I? Yeah, no, I would recommend it. But if you're okay with seeing the reality of a lot of situations,
Yeah.
I think it's informative as well.
But it also, I feel like if you're younger, I was talking to Clara about it afterwards, and she was saying that if we'd seen it when we were younger, we would have been watching it with different eyes. Like, we would have been able to justify a lot of the things that she did, or kind of be like, oh, well, I would have done that as well. It wasn't that bad. But looking back on it as, you know, a young woman being like, oh, not really like woman yet, like being 21, but the decisions that I made at 15, which were very similar to what she did, you're able to see it from a different lens of you kind of want to tell her to stop. Like the whole movie, we were kind of like, no, don't do that. But then if I was 15, I would have been like, okay, cool, it's not that big of a deal. So I feel like anyone could see it at different points and have different reactions to it, but everyone could have a conversation about it afterwards. It's a conversation starter, because I feel like a lot of girls would be like, I've been in a similar situation, and they might not have the clarity that people might have of like, oh, that was bad. They could watch that film and then say to themselves, you know, like, that's not okay. And they might be able to talk to people about it. They might be able to look at back on situations or talk to their friends, because one of the girls, I don't know, I can't remember her name, the really tall girl who was like pressuring her friend to lose her virginity and then was being really like petty about it and then was really trying to force the drink upon them and like crazy. Like, I feel like we all had one of those friends, and maybe that friend will have a look at their self and be like, that's not good.
I completely agree with you with regards to how it sort of really authentically captured a place and a time, for sure. It doesn't follow a typical narrative structure like a lot of films do, and it succeeds at sort of saying a lot of things but reserving itself and sort of really coming to grips with the honesty of a situation like that, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing your experience watching the film. If you weren't talking about how to have sex though, which film from 2023 would you be talking about?
Saltburn.
Saltburn.
Yeah.
Good. Seems like a popular option. And finally, Ebony, my final question to you is, which film in 2024 are you most excited for?
Oh no, I forgot. No. Wait, no, it will come to me. I'll just say Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2.
But it wasn't that.
I mean,
had
it is a
another
good
one. And it was no.
Inside Out 2?
No, because that film was scary. Pending.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I know that I waffled a lot then, so.
You just gotta move it over a little bit, you know.
You laughing, girl?
All right.
It's a small thing.
Hi, my name is Lola. I'm a screenwriter. I work in an office. And my chosen film for 2023 is Talk to Me.
Talk to me. That is a great pick, Lola.
Thank you.
Before you talk to me about Talk to Me, I'm going to throw you some quick fire questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Great. So first up, are you a cat person or are you a dog person?
Cat person.
What is your favorite pizza topping?
Olives or like jalapenos.
What is a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
Fargo.
What is your go-to drink for a night out?
Old fashioned.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when watching a film at the cinema?
Salted.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Oh, Barbie.
You said that so definitively. What is your favorite color?
Red.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Autumn.
Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
I like going by myself, but Fantine and I go every now and then. I mean, you said your mum, which is cute, but you know, I'm hurt deeply. It's fine.
And
Going with Fantine's mum.
what are your Letterboxd top 4 favorites?
Oh, Little Miss Sunshine, City of God, The Thing, and Alien.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
So, your pick of 2023 is Talk to Me, the directorial debut of the Raka Raka brothers. In a few words, for those people who are too scared to see this film, can you tell everyone what this film is about?
It's a group of teenagers, and they have this embalmed hand that sort of acts like a Ouija board, and you shake it and you say, talk to me, and you can talk to spirits that are sort of trapped in purgatory, and it sort of possesses you at the same time.
So how did you watch Talk to Me? Did you watch it in a cinema? Did you watch it at home, under the duvet? What did you do?
Fantine and I went to go watch it together because you knew about that it was from the
Raka Raka brothers.
The Raka Raka brothers. And I didn't know that, and I still clearly don't know that. But and you were very excited about it, and I was very excited about it, and it was, I think, one of the most enjoyable times that I've had at a cinema, just because we were both very excited about the film. And it's nice to see, because it's their debut film, when people who have a genuine passion for their film get to make it, and it's exactly what they want. Well, I don't know if it's exactly what they want. It lives up to the hype, kind of. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and so my next question was, why have you picked this film? You seem to be quite the horror buff. Has that had anything to do?
Here, and I just talk about horror films, and I know that
You did Asteroid City.
Oh yeah. I don't know, because horror is such a cheap genre to produce, and there's a lot of. I mean, there was a film this year like Thanksgiving, and like the slogan was "There'll be no leftovers," and I'm sorry, but that's just not. That's unserious.
Apparently, the film is actually not bad though.
Never mind.
Eli Roth. I haven't seen it though.
But I feel like it's so easy for like, because there's a lot of, we'll put out like another Scream film or like another, just it's very cheap, very quick, not a lot of effort horror film, and it's fine. It does what you need it to do. And I like bad horror movies as much. Like I think they're really fun. But it's nice that like this one was genuinely scary, and I feel like there's not a lot of that anymore. I don't know, but it's nice to see that they made an amazing debut film, and it was actually terrifying. And
an original film as well.
Really original.
Yeah.
And because you said that this is like a year for originality and like new films, and I feel like that's just across all spectrums, not just animation. And yeah, it was just nice to see.
Yeah. Basically ticked all the boxes for you, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about the film's, I guess, story stood out to you?
I mean, again, it was very original. I haven't felt like a suspense for like, because I know that everybody's like, oh yeah, Hitchcock, he's like the master of suspense. Okay, like I do like him. I really do like him. But I feel like that hasn't been like, people who don't really talk about that way about more recent films. And this one, I mean, my heart was going pitter patter the whole time. It was great.
Pitter patter.
Pitter patter. You know the meme. It was very original, and it was scary. And I think that's all that you really need for a good horror movie.
Yeah.
And I'm personally the most scared of like possession and like supernatural films.
Yeah.
So I might be a little bit biased, but even if you didn't find it scary, I think the story is so good on its own.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, horror is definitely a very subjective
subjective
genre, and you either find something terrifying or you don't. Why would you recommend Talk to Me to, well, people who haven't seen it, especially if you're a horror fan? Why is this a must-see horror film?
It's standalone, so you don't have to like
do the homework.
You don't have to like watch. I'm going back to Scream a lot. You don't have to watch all of the Scream films. You don't have to watch like all the Halloween films. It's a standalone. It's an hour and a half. It's not like 2.5 hours. You don't have to set like a whole day aside for it. And it will just, it's so easy to follow, I think. You sit down, you watch it, you're horrified, and then you go. It's just, I think that's all that you could really ask from a film like this.
If you weren't talking about Talk to Me, which film of 2023 would you be talking about?
Bottoms.
Bottoms. Yes. I know you loved this one, didn't you?
I know that because you and Clara went to see it and you didn't.
Well, I loved Rachel Sennett's first film with, I can't remember the director's name. Shiver Baby.
Yeah.
I loved that so much. And I thought that was terrific. But Bottoms, I don't know if I just didn't get it or something. But I thought it was fun, but maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was just nice to see a film about like two gay people, and it's not about like them suffering or anything.
Yeah.
They're just kind of losers in high school.
I did think the idea of the whole girls fight club thing was pretty interesting for sure.
So good.
Yeah. And finally, Lola, which film of 2024 are you most excited for?
Poor Things. I know that it's been out. It's been in London Film Fest, but I missed it, and its official UK release date is in January. But I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, you should be.
I really like Yorgos Lanthimos. I feel like it's going to be good.
Someone was
don't forget Godzilla X Kong and you.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lola.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Mickey. I am a writer, director, and I run a production house. And my favorite film of 2023 is, well, my favorite current film, because I do have a lot of catching up to do, so this might change. But as of this point in time, my favorite film of the year is Maestro.
Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog person.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Veggies plus ham.
Interesting. What is a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
The Bear.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Wine?
What wine?
If it's winter, red. If it's summer, white.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when watching a film at the cinema?
Mixed is objectively the supreme type of popcorn.
Okay. Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Barbie.
What is your favorite color?
White.
Are you sure it's not pink?
Yeah, I do like pink. Yeah. Pink and white.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Who's your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
It depends on the film.
Who's your favorite person to go to the
It
cinema?
depends on the film, but it's either Joe or my girlfriend Kane.
Aw. And finally, what are your Letterboxd 4 favorites?
Well, my Letterboxd 4 favorites are I need to preface this by saying they're my 4 favorite films, not the 4 best films of all time. But I think they are Return of the King, which is also one of the best films of all time.
Yep.
Ex Machina, Climax, and maybe 2001.
Awesome. That is a great list of films. So let's talk about your pick of 2023 then.
Let's do it.
So you said Maestro is currently the king in your mind. In a few words, for those who haven't managed to see the film yet, tell us what Maestro is all about.
Maestro is a biopic about Leonard Bernstein, who is a very famous, arguably the most famous and successful American composer and conductor. And it's about his life, but I'd argue it's less about his professional achievements, as most biopics are, but it's more about his, I wouldn't say it's like a traditional biopic in the sense like we watch the history of what happened, but it's more watching the person develop from being a young aspiring artist to success to then old age. And it's all done, I guess, really, centrally through the perspective of his partner, Felicia.
Am I correct in assuming you watched this in a cinema?
I did. I went on opening day alone, and it was actually quite full. It was a really fun night. But yeah, I did watch it. I was thinking about catching it on Netflix, but I was like, it does, because I think A Star Is Born is a really good film that does everything right. Like I think you can't really complain about A Star Is Born. It is a bit like Oscar baity, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad film. It's not a good film. But with Maestro, I felt like because of the experience I had with A Star Is Born, I felt like it's a better experience in the cinema, and I'm very glad I did that because it was a better experience in the cinema.
Well, Mickey, plain and simple, why Maestro? Why Maestro is your 2023 film?
Why
of
Maestro?
Now?
I thought it was probably like one of the best emotionally, like one of the best films built through emotion that I've seen in a while. I thought I loved that it's not really a traditional biopic, as I mentioned. It's more a it didn't feel very historical. It felt very human, and I felt very connected to the lead character, so much so that it didn't feel like I was watching something from an outside point of view, but something very inside and personal to him. I can talk a lot about why that is so, but I think the main reason is that the film kind of builds itself through a sense of intimacy, whether that be from his partner or from the people around him, but it really felt like a very honest depiction of who this person is, and I felt really engaged throughout. I think it's a very coherent film in the way that it's structured. It knows exactly what it wants to do at all points, and it succeeds, and I think it just it's good, and it succeeds in what it wants to do, and it's a really beautiful story, and it made me cry, which never happens. I almost never cry watching movies, but I cried during Maestro, which was surprising.
Well, I guess that is the perfect way to sort of gateway into this next question, which is, how did this film, if at all, well, it clearly did, made you very emotional. How did it emotionally connect with you?
It did definitely make me emotional, which again rarely happens to me. I think when you watch a lot of films, which everybody that you have on today does, you get a little bit desensitized to them, and you start watching them from a bit of a objective kind of critical perspective, especially if you're also in the industry. So it's very rare that like a film makes me emotional, and I thought that when it did, that was quite surprising. I don't think it's a spoiler because it's a biopic, but I don't want to say what happens in case people don't really know the story. But towards the end of the film, it gets really heavy, and I thought it was a very just dense story.
And Carey Mulligan in that film,
amazing, like absolutely. Like I would, she is amazing, but also I do have to say Bradley Cooper is insane in that film.
He is very good.
So I think both of them, a lot of people are saying, she's carrying the film. I think they're genuinely like two totally equal forces within it. Because Bradley Cooper, to me, that's the male performance of the year. And I think she is I haven't seen Poor Things though, but at this point in time, she is the female performance of the year. So it like they're both incredible in it. Like truly, I was like blown away.
Yeah,
From an acting perspective, I was like, I can't comprehend how they did that. Like, that was mental.
Yeah, that's definitely something the pair of us agree on, was the performances in the film and the emotion that resonated through their performances. For those who haven't seen Maestro, why would you recommend this film?
I think it succeeds in being what a biopic wants to be. There's been a few biopics in the last year which have not been very good. And
care to elaborate?
I don't want to like openly kind of shit on a lot of films, but we can deduct the answers. But there's been a few biopics that I haven't very much enjoyed, and I think it does what biopics want to do, which is present the character on a human level and make us really understand who they are as a person first. And I think that's the main thing about Maestro, is like you understand who Leonard Bernstein is as a human first and a conductor composer second. And I think it's a good film, so I'd recommend good films to anybody. There's been quite a few good films this year, but Maestro at this point in time I think is the best.
At this point in time, is that your best picture winner?
To like predict? No. I think like predicting best picture, probably Oppenheimer.
Okay.
At this point in time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Mickey, you've spoken about Maestro, but if you weren't talking about Bradley Cooper's second film, which film of 2023 would you be talking about?
Across the Spider-Verse. Sure. I think that like everybody loves Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, and what else there? And Saltburn. I really did enjoy Saltburn, and I do have a feeling I'm gonna love Poor Things, because like the type of weird, like bizarre stuff that I love, and I'm sure there's gonna be a few bits and bobs that I quite liked, but yeah, I think Across the Spider-Verse is definitely up there.
And finally, which film are you most excited for in 2024?
I did have a cheeky Google because I wanted to be prepped because I knew I'd miss it. So I have 3 I'm really excited.
Oh, go on then.
Deadpool 3, obviously. And then I'm really excited for Furiosa.
Oh, yes. The trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. It does. But if I had to pick like one, it would be Nosferatu, which is Robert Eggers' new film. That's like, I would have forgotten that, so I'm glad I had a cheeky Google.
Yeah.
But those 3 definitely are like up there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mickey.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for a lovely, lovely season of the Popcorn Podcast.
Oh, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm an actor and I could call me a writer sometimes, call me an editor one day. I'll do finger painting another day. And my chosen film of 2023 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Someone had to pick it, right?
That I know.
Before we talk all things Spider-Verse, then I'm going to throw you some quick-fire questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So first up, are you a cat or dog person?
Cat.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
A padana. I was gonna say it's a padana. Sorry, so Theo before us. It's a caramelized onion. Caramelized onion.
Right, caramelized onion. Cool.
Yes, cheese. Thank you.
What's a TV show in 2023 that you've been watching?
Severance, and there was a good one I had, but I've forgotten it. 1,000 Sisters on TLC. Seen that?
I can't say how.
Oh no, that's such a good one. But it wasn't Severance. Doctor Who, I'm currently is doing great at the moment. The 3 specials.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Something rum based.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when you're watching a film?
Sweet, but mixed is what makes sense.
Are you more of a Barbie person or an Oppenheimer person?
They're both all right. Oppenheimer a bit.
Yeah.
But I love what Barbie is as well.
Cool. And what is your favorite color?
Purple.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Autumn.
Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
You're looking at him. My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, no one said their dad yet.
It's cute, isn't it?
Shout out to Dan's dad. What are your top 4 favorites on Letterboxd?
It's Fargo, Shaun of the Dead, it's Paddington 2, a bit basic, and Whiplash.
Nice.
I think.
Solid 4.
Yeah.
So, Dan, your chosen film of 2023 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
For those who have been living under a rock, can you please briefly, if you can, summarize what this film is about?
Okay. That's a sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
It follows Miles Morales as he is discovered that anyone can wear the mask, but he is now really finding out what it means to be Spider-Man and the trials and tribulations of putting away private life and or family life and his Spider-Man kind of life, and the massive consequences of the multiverse coming on in at him, so to speak. Probably a bad way of phrasing that, but and the absolute chaos that ensues if you don't follow what people tell you to do, essentially.
So were you excited for this film? Did you love the first one?
I was excited. I didn't. It sort of took me by surprise how excited I was when I was sitting there. But beforehand, I always knew Into the Spider-Verse was so original and so cherished for such a modern film as well. But like a modern classic in a way, maybe. And and I've always loved superhero films. But this was something felt different about watching this. It didn't feel like a generic. Well, animated superhero films there aren't many of them. Well, I know there's some DC stuff, and but in terms of feature length, but yeah, this was definitely, it felt special, and I was excited. But
did you watch
afterwards
it in
is when I realised how much I loved it. Yes, IMAX, BFI, I believe.
That is probably the best way to watch it, especially
if not a bit overwhelming.
Yeah,
if that's not.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah. If you know, epileptic warning, maybe.
So Dan, why have you, just in simple words, why have you picked Across the Spider-Verse?
It's just a beautiful film in so many ways, narratively, obviously, visually. The music is something that I think pushes this film into one of my favorite.
So underrated.
I got the vinyl, so I just did Hanukkah. Give a round of applause for Hanukkah. No, and my sister got me the vinyl with these. It's like a. I think you can get different colours for the of Daniel Pemberton's score. It's amazing. It's just the music obviously makes a film, but there's something about it which is like percentage-wise, the soundtrack is just everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, animation is stunning, but the music is always it truly makes the film what it is.
The Golden Globes nominations actually came out, I think, yesterday, and I was like really pleased to see that it copped a nomination.
What, the film itself, or
no, the score?
Oh, really? Great.
Yeah. The film did also get nominated.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah,
imagine it did.
How did Across the Spider-Verse sort of speak to you emotionally, thematically?
Yeah. So I never really I didn't have Star Wars, and I did discover Marvel later, I think around the Age of Ultron time, and I never loved it. It's just I never I did love it, but it was never really a big deal, and it's kind of crescendoed throughout the years, if not going down now. But these little nuggets that come out, like Into and Across the Spider-Verse, and some of the things like Guardians of the Galaxy, these weird off-kilter films are the ones that speak to me. But the full narrative of the MCU, I think, is an amazing thing. No matter what you say, Scorsese, like cinema's dead. I understand also the unoriginality being kind of bombarded with so much and spread so thin. But having that shared universe is an amazing thing if it can be done well. Yeah. And Marvel, I think that excites me when it works, which is now starting to, But no, Spider-Verse is just so original and is done incredibly well and beautifully. And I just can't, as a film lover and animation is at the core of my love of all things. It led me into wanting to be an actor as well. Like, just so much of Pixar is like the core of my love for cinema. Yeah. So I think that's maybe where the love for this film comes from as well.
Amazing. And if you weren't talking about Across the Spider-Verse, Dan, what film from 2023 would you be talking about?
So I was going to do Passages about Ira Sachs.
Completely different
film. Talk to Me, I liked a lot as well. And Pearl.
Mm-hmm. And Dan, finally, what film of 2024 are you most excited?
Paddington in Peru.
That's the second.
Oh, did you say that?
No, Joey said it.
Oh, fine. Like I say, Pixar love it. Inside Out 2. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Joker, the first film, but the second one being a musical, and Lady Gaga's great. So Joker, Folie, I bet Mickey will know this. Folie à deux.
Godzilla versus
Godzilla Kong, A New Empire. No, Godzilla X Kong. Are they fighting each other?
Have you seen the Endgame edit with that?
No, but them running. It looks so from Gareth Edwards' Godzilla and how big and scary that the scale of it. They just look so fucking light, and
they look like cartoons.
You just put your finger to push them over. Yeah, it's sad, really.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note,
I'm
going to say thank you, Dad. Cheers. Thank you.
Dad.
I'm talking to the camera, right? I don't like looking in the camera. Hi, my name is Clara. I'm a artist, animator, maths teacher. And my chosen film of 2023 is The Boy and the Heron.
Are you a cat or dog person?
Neither.
You have to pick one.
Cat.
What is your favorite pizza topping?
Mushrooms.
Nice. We'll go with mushrooms. What is a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
Everything Now, I really enjoyed.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
Margarita.
What do you prefer, sweet or salted popcorn when you're watching a film at the cinema?
Sweet popcorn.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
What is your favorite color?
Red.
What is your favorite season of the year?
Spring.
Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
Dylan.
And finally, I was going to stop the recording.
You said Chris to his question.
I didn't. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's such a lie. We can go through it. And last but not least, what are your Letterboxd top 4 favorites?
Princess Mononoke, The Godfather, Thelma and Louise, and The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Very nice. So, Clara, you've picked The Boy and the Heron as your film of 2023. Would you say this is your favorite film of 2023?
Oh, that's hard. Probably.
Probably. Well, I think we both know that you are a very big Miyazaki fan. Do you want to talk a little bit about Miyazaki and a little bit maybe about the influence he's had on you as a creator?
Yeah, so the first film I saw in the cinema was a Studio Ghibli film, and then straight after I saw Princess Mononoke and became obsessed and haven't stopped being obsessed with that film. He's an amazing artist, and his films have had a profound influence on the work I do, but just on my life. They're my comfort films, they're my inspiration a lot of the time.
So The Boy and the Heron is a film that hasn't had a massive sort of marketing campaign. So for the people who haven't heard of this film at all, in a few words, can you tell us what the film is about?
The film is about a boy who has lost his mother, and it's sort of about his search for himself and coming to terms with that grief. But it's also sort of almost like a sort of Odyssey-like tale. He sort of goes through different worlds and overcomes different challenges or experiences different little stories.
Great. How did you watch the film? Where did you experience it?
So, because I'm obsessed with Miyazaki, and I really wanted to get tickets to see it at the London Film Festival, and sadly we were 5,000th in the queue and didn't get any, but very, very luckily Dylan through Theo got tickets.
Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Theo.
For this, so we watched it at the London Film Festival. Yeah.
So just plain and simple, I know you've just briefly touch on how Miyazaki has played a massive role in your life, both professionally, creatively, etc. Why have you picked The Boy and the Heron?
The other film that I was going to talk about this year was One Fine Morning, and although possibly it had more of an emotional impact on me than Boy and the Heron, I felt that it was right to talk about this film, firstly because no one else was talking about it, and because Miyazaki has had such a big influence in my life, and it was a genuinely beautiful film.
How did the film connect with you emotionally, if any? Because I remember you shedding a couple of tears during the film. To be fair, you do cry at most things, but
rude. Yeah, because more than anything, I feel like, unlike Miyazaki's possibly past films, have a lot of hope. And I think early on in his career, he was more hopeful for he is a very political person and a very spiritual person, and more hopeful about the world and about what love and kindness could do. And I felt like, funnily enough, this film, almost the opposite, was an acceptance of sort of the randomness of fate, and didn't have that sort of core of love and hope. It had some tenderness, and he obviously still values it, but it wasn't a hopeful film. And I found that very touching, especially for Miyazaki's so-called last film and his retirement film.
Well, we were previously touching on with Fantine and Dan, there's been no shortage in the animation department. With regards to The Boy and the Heron, what is it about the animation that, I guess, spoke to you and you were impressed by?
I think there's obviously the character animation is amazing. He sort of takes time and really looks at how people move in quiet ways and little things that they do rather than sort of over expressive or over comic animation that's often seen in sort of like Disney Pixar films, which I think is really lovely. He also is a filmmaker that embraces the ugly and makes it beautiful. I think with a lot of the creations of sort of his fantastical beasts and beings, he's not looking for ugly and bad and beauty and good, but he really embraces the both of them and just tries to find beauty in the natural world. And I think that is like one of the most amazing parts of his films.
And just building on that, as someone who isn't as well acquainted with Miyazaki's filmography like you, I've sort of obviously started, you forced me to watch a lot of his Miyazaki's films, but happily so. And I've been able to take and appreciate a lot more things about animation and his particular style of storytelling through his earlier works. I haven't completed his entire filmography, but he is a very unconventional and special storyteller. So why would you recommend The Boy and the Heron to people who haven't seen it or who haven't heard about the film yet?
I would say the sort of things he talks about and represents in his films, especially that sort of like marriage between like the beautiful and the ugly, is something really beautiful and something you don't see a lot in cinema, and especially children's cinema. And I think for any child that is a new thing, and it's a really lovely thing to have growing up. Although I would possibly say maybe not the best first experience for Miyazaki film, as it is the slightly less hopeful.
If you weren't talking about The Boy and the Heron, what would your pick of 2023 be? I know you mentioned One Fine Morning.
Yeah, One Fine Morning I thought was a really touching film, very beautiful, just sort of just a look on life and death. But the other one would be Oppenheimer, more obviously. I have a background in physics, and it was just kind of nice to watch sort of one of the most momentous sort of possibly bad decisions that anyone's ever made in awful creations, but very interesting.
Yeah. Oppenheimer's in the room. And finally, Clara, what film are you most excited to see in 2024?
That's a really boring answer. Dune Part 2.
Why is that a boring answer? I mean,
isn't like most people said that?
No, I said it, and like
one more person.
Oh, okay. Or Poor Things. I know it's out already, but I haven't seen it. Yeah. It's not out in the UK till January.
You're gonna have an exciting night watching Dune 2, the two of you. Your most anticipated film.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Clara.
Thank you.
Okay. Finally, get to the main event.
Dylan, ring, ring. What's that? I think we're getting a distress call.
A distress call?
Yeah, there is a caller from abroad.
A caller from abroad? What are you talking about?
There's a call coming in from Thailand.
Thailand? Who the fuck is in Thailand? Oh shit, no way. No way.
Hello, I am Panwa, a part-time filmmaker and full-time ally to Dylan and the Popcorn Podcast, and it is an absolute honor and a pleasure and a blessing to be joining and taking part in this video, the final episode of Season 1 of the Popcorn Podcast 2023 season, to talk about what is potentially my favorite movie of the year, John Wick Chapter 4. But before we talk about that film, I have been asked to answer one or two quick-fire questions. So without further ado, let's get into them. Are you a cat person or a dog person? I am a dog person. What is your favorite pizza topping? All of the meats, like the Meteor from Domino's, but I would switch out the barbecue sauce for the normal sauce, add a bit of stuffed crust, perfection. What is the TV show that you've been watching in 2023? All of them. All of the half-decent ones, all of the masterpieces, and some of the bad ones too. MCU, I'm looking at you. Except Loki Season 2. What's your go-to drink on a night out? Guinness, Negroni, Guinness, Long Island, Guinness, Negroni, Long Island, Guinness, Negroni, something like that. Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn when watching a film at the cinema? Well, because I'm from Thailand, and Thailand is a slightly bizarre country, one of the wonderful inventions that we have is actually cheese-flavored popcorn. We also have barbecue, truffle, caramel, all kinds of wonderful things to choose from. But cheese is kind of the one I grew up with, and it sounds absolutely disgusting, but it's actually really cool. And that's why when I'm in England, I actually never eat popcorn, because sweet and salty, really? Like, come on. Barbie or Oppenheimer? Oppenheimer, by a little bit. What's my favorite color? The color of success. What is your favorite season of the year? I would say spring. Who is your favorite person to go to the cinema with? I would probably say my friend Elwood. We've been going to the cinema together since we were about 14, 15. We went to school together, and so on the weekends would go and watch all of the big releases. We have gotten to see SpiderVerse. We have gotten to see Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and also stuff like Hacksaw Ridge. We watched all kinds of masterpieces. Widows we saw together in 2018. And so he has been my longest cinema buddy. And someone I always look forward to watching a movie with. And actually the most recent film we got to see together was actually John Wick Chapter 4. What are my 4 Letterboxd favorites? On the actual account itself, it says Inception, Whiplash, The Prestige, and American Psycho. The actual answer is Inception, Whiplash, La La Land, and Return of the King. I don't know why I haven't changed it. I probably won't, but those are actually my 4 favorite films. Return of the King kind of works, to cover all the bases of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So, moving on to the film I want to talk about today, which is John Wick Chapter 4. This is, for me, as I've said actually on the episode I did with Dylan on the Popcorn Podcast, in my opinion, the greatest action film ever made. I was lucky enough to see this movie opening night with my friend Elwood at the Odeon in Leicester Square, the big cinema. We were sat up in the gallery, and even then it was still a full house. It was one of the most crowd-pleasing movies I saw this year, along with maybe Saltburn or The Killer. People were cheering, they were laughing, they were, screaming. And it was a really, really good time at the cinema. And I think partly that's why I love the movie so much, is how purely cinematic it actually is. Because whilst I didn't really connect to any of the themes or the characters, there wasn't really a story or a plot, to be honest. The brilliance of this movie lies in just the sheer purity of craftsmanship. This film, more than any other I've seen this year, continuously strives to be the best film it can be from a filmmaking point of view. It is always going the extra mile. The attention to detail, the hard work on display is fully visible. It is fully audible. This is, in my opinion, probably the best looking movie I've seen in 2023. The way it sounds, the way it feels, everything about it on a crafts level is just unreal. And I think that is why I chose to talk about this film, because as you would know if you have watched a previous episodes of the Popcorn Podcast, I'm a big filmmaking person and I love that craft side of it. And that is why it is big, it is bold, it is unsubtle yet epic, and it is absolutely a film I would recommend you watch if you haven't. However, if I had to choose another film to talk about, an alternative choice, it would actually be the film I view as the complete opposite to John Wick Chapter 4, and that would be Past Lives. As for my most anticipated film of 2024, I'm not going to do the obvious choice and say Dune 2, and I'm not going to say Mickey 17 because I'm hoping Mickey's already said Mickey 17. The film that I want to talk about, I guess, is Nosferatu by Robert Eggers, who is quickly, cementing himself as one of the great filmmakers of his generation, one of the most experimental, yet somebody who actually truly understands the medium of film and the medium of cinema. And I just can't wait to see what he does with such a timeless and classic story. So that's me done. Thank you again, guys, for including me in this fantastic video. I can't wait to see you all soon, and I am so excited to be going into this next year, 2024, which promises to be a pretty decent year for cinema with all of you guys. Have a fantastic New Year's. Cheers.
Hi guys, my name is Dylan. I am the creator and host of the Popcorn Podcast, and my chosen film of 2023 is, well, to be honest, I changed it sort of last minute. I was going to talk about Oppenheimer because I just don't think you can make a best of 2023 list without at least mentioning Oppenheimer. In my opinion, I feel like Oppenheimer is in many ways the most sort of complete film of the year. But in the end, I've actually kind of decided to go with my rogue pick of 2023, and that is Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things.
Hello, Dylan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. This is very weird being interviewed on my own podcast like this, but it's a nice change up.
It is indeed. I'm going to give you some quick fire questions, okay?
Let's hear them.
Stop thinking, because I know you've written these, so I want you to forget all pre-existing.
When I was writing these, I didn't actually think what my answers were.
Right, are you a cat person or are you a dog person?
Probably a dog person.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Just straight up pepperoni.
What's a TV show that you've been watching in 2023?
The Bear. I've only seen the first season though.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
A lychee martini.
Sure. Do you prefer sweet or salted popcorn?
Sweet.
Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
What's your favorite color?
Red.
What's your favorite season of the year?
I want to say spring. Let's do spring.
Who's your favorite person to go to the cinema with?
My girlfriend Clara. Chris is like turning in his sleep right now. He's like, betrayed me.
What are your Letterboxd 4 favorites?
My top 4 Letterboxd favorites are Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, The Dark Knight, Whiplash, and what is my 4th? Oh my gosh, what is my 4th?
You're allowed to check.
Jurassic Park. Oh my god, save the best till last. Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Very nice. All right, Dylan. Well, in a few words, bro, tell us what your film Poor Things is about.
That is quite a task, I would say. So Poor Things is this, how do I even say, this freakish, sort of phantasmagoric, Frankenstein-esque sexual odyssey of sorts that follows a character that follows lighting department. So as I was saying, Poor Things is this crazy, absurd sort of sexual odyssey of sorts that follows a character named Bella Baxter, who has been brought back to life. I'm not going to specify the means at which she has been brought back to life, but she's been brought back to life by this sort of crazy mad scientist, father figure type character played by Willem Dafoe. And the film is essentially this sort of twisted, coming of age, self-discovery, whirlwind tale that goes across several continents and follows the evolution of this character, Bella Baxter. Like I said, she goes on a journey of self-discovery, and sort of discovers the world through her own unique way. And it's also about discovering herself sexually as well. It's a very sexually charged film. Yeah.
Okay. I have yet to see Poor Things. So
yes.
I quite enjoyed that little summary.
It is very weird.
And what was your experience watching the film? Where did you see it? How did you see it? Who did you see it with?
So I saw it by myself because I saw it at a press screening at 8:30 in the morning at the BFI London Film Festival. Some of you listening to that might be thinking, what a horrible way to watch a film. But if you want my experience with it, it's actually not so bad. You kind of just get a coffee and have that in one hand, and the rest is basically there. You have your eyes fixated on this film for I think it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. So yeah, that was my experience with Poor Things.
And why have you picked Poor Things?
Honestly, this is a bit of a rogue pick for me. It isn't, I wouldn't say it's a typical Dylan film. It is a bit of a rogue choice, but just plain and simple, I just loved this film so much, too much in fact. I think it is such a brilliant film. Technically speaking, I think the film is just magnificent from a visual perspective. I've never really seen a film look like that from a cinematography perspective. The way that there is so much depth and texture within the picture. A lot of it reminded me of like children's pop-up books, which is a really weird sort of comparison, but I thought it was really unique in that sense. Yorgos Lanthimos as well, his directing is absolutely fantastic here, and it does sort of take the form of this coming of age story. It's partnered an adventure story of sorts, all whilst being really twisted, absurd, and the one adjective I'd actually use to describe Poor Things is just bizarre. And that's all without talking about the fantastic performances on display here. You have the likes of, like I said, Willem Dafoe, who's just marvelous in everything he does. You have Mark Ruffalo, who gives one of the most bizarre performances I've ever seen from him, and it's really nice to have seen him sort of break out from something more mainstream and do something that is much more daring in nature. And he plays a Brit, and his accent in this is just hilarious. He had me laughing right the way through the film, and that is of course all without talking about the central performance, the one that holds all of this together, and that is of course Emma Stone. I think the Best Actress category this year at the Oscars is going to be stacked. You know, you have Sandra Hüller from Anatomy of a Fall, you have Carey Mulligan from Maestro, you have Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon. But if I were a betting man, I would say Emma Stone might in fact bag her second Oscar for this role. So yeah, it is this amazing tale about so many different things, and it's told in such mischievous ways. All held together by just truly brilliant, captivating, hilarious performances. So yeah, does that answer your question?
That's a great one. Did you have any personal connection to the film? Emotional? Thematical?
So, like I said, this isn't really a film I would kind of pick as my film of the year. I can't really relate to, and a lot of it, I don't know if I fully disagree with it. But like I said, I just had such a blast with Poor Things, and I found it to just be a fascinating tale about just so many different things, how one would sort of go about behaving if they weren't sort of brought up from a young age to adhere to sort of societal norms. There's a lot of comedy that comes from this. The film isn't perfect in my opinion. There are sections that do get a little repetitive of sorts and sort of really nail the point, and I don't think it really is saying anything that I haven't seen in films before. But like I said, just the way in which it does it was enough of a reason to win me over here. So didn't connect with it personally or necessarily emotionally, aside from the humor, I would say, but just an impressive, I think it throws a lot of great philosophical questions your way, and it's just really fun. Yeah.
And if you hadn't picked Poor Things, what would you have picked?
So I probably would have picked Oppenheimer, but aside from Oppenheimer and aside from Poor Things, I think my favorite film of the year was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but I can't say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse because Dan stole it. And what kind of a host am I if I don't give my guest first pick? So there you go.
Yeah. And lastly then, which film from 2024 are you most excited to see?
Well, there's only really one answer for me, and it was a film that was supposed to come out this year, and that is, of course, Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. And it's even better because it comes out just before my birthday, so it'll be a nice little birthday present. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being interviewed on your own podcast.
Thank you for interviewing me on my own podcast. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this epic season finale. That is our top 10 of 2023. One of the best things, if not the best thing for me about doing the Popcorn podcast here in its first year, in its first season, so to speak, is being able to interact with so many different people, both on and off the camera. So thank you very much, guys, for making this possible, and to all the guests who I've been able to chat with over the past 20 or so episodes. We've got a very exciting season 2 planned for 2024, so stay tuned. But for now, thank you for watching, for listening, and we will catch you very soon in the next episode of the Popcorn Podcast. Cheers.
Peace out.
Bye.
Okay, thank you, guys.